Hummer up.
Okay. I'm here with, how do you say your last name? Ockert?
Ockert.
Ockert. Tom, I'm here with Tom Ockert. It is June 7th. You're a better man than I. It's June 7th, and we're here at Tom's apartment in Traverse City. Tom, you just made a statement when we were talking about how we might get started.
About how to be courageous while homeless. Yeah, and what did I mean by that? Because homeless people are distinct. It's they are viewed with a certain aspect of non-humanity usually, and to stand up and be a human being takes a great deal of courage. And then when you're faced with, you have no home, you have maybe no way to wash your clothes or get food or all the other sundries things, it's easy to fall into a depression. It's easy to fall into something where you feel bad about yourself so that you can seek an escape somehow outside of yourself through drugs or liquor or whatever. But fortunately for me, I did not have that. And what I did have was strong belief in practicing my life, even without the money, even without the ability to drive around, but the courage part is coming up and not succumbing to outside influences that are destructive, that can hurt the soul for later on.
And part of it is the stereotype that society imposes on you because you're...
I believe so. You know, a couple of times I made, for the game, I made, during my presentations when I'm talking to counselors for children or whatever to present the Home Sweet Homelessness game. I made it a point to express about handshakes because I've been interviewed before and about being homeless, like people were doing me a favor by talking to me, and they would not shake my hand because homeless people may have dirty hands or they can't wash or be, and you know, they're human beings, and you can't, it just shows respect for another human being if you can shake their hand.
Yeah.
You can always wash later. I mean, if you're that scared.
So this very human thing about hands, you've expressed so much of the pariah perception, and you're so aware of that. How did you have the courage not to be drawn in by that?
The part of the courage comes from my faith, which is Buddhism, and that faith is structured around study, practice, and faith. And to be a Buddha, you got to stand up and be aware of everything around you, including other people's expressions. I mean, I don't know how I do it sometimes, but I think it's you assess body language, you assess whatever, when I would like to donate a lot, but sometimes when someone who is homeless comes up to me and says, could I have a quarter?
Yes.
I kind of get standoffish, mostly because I usually, right at present, I don't have an income. So I don't have anything to give anyways. But what I do, just to get a reaction from them usually, is I assess first, and then I say to them before they start asking, I ask them for a quarter, and watch their expression and see how they maneuver around it. And some of them are just kind of turn off and walk away, but a few of them say, "Well, man, I wish I had it," So
How do you feel when these respond the second way?
Well, that just show. I just give them a touch, like the handshake. Only I just touch them, and human touch, because sometimes you feel so alone when you're homeless. You feel untouched, unloved, uncared for, and reaching out and touching somebody and saying, "Hey, you're still alive," with just that little finger touch or whatever is appreciated, although they might not say that because it's a subtle way to talk to someone.
So with the person who you say, when they ask you for a quarter and you say back to them, "Have you got a quarter?" In some cases there's a kind of a human exchange that begins.
They're maybe embarrassed because, gosh, they're asking for money, and they may have never done that, or it's just part of being a human being to try to open a dialogue with someone, even if it's just touch. And
you were starting to tell the story about being with the kids and the importance of a handshake to the kids. What was the circumstance where you were able to talk to these kids?
Oh, let's see. I was homeless, and I wanted to reach someone, and part of that reach is not being standoffish. And because sometimes when you talk with children or even another adult human being, there's a distinction between a friendship and a duty. Because there are a lot of wonderful people in churches and people who help the homeless, but some of them are just giving you duty and they're judgmental. And being judgmental is not Buddhist, for one thing, and it's not conducive to the welfare of the human you're trying to help. It doesn't help if they know you're helping them. Because then it puts them in a subservient place, kind of deal, and it just, people don't want to feel like they already owe, because they're feeling probably depressed as it is, because they haven't got a place to live, and they haven't got a place to warm their hands, or or wash, or do all, take care of their dogs if they had dogs, because we are all here to be together, to be human beings, and my goal eventually is to make a lot of human beings happy.
Say more about that, Tom.
Happy or
Your goal is to make people happy.
well, yeah. There were people who helped me, and I was happy to accept their help because I truly, truly needed it. But I'm finally coming so that things are going my way, and I feel confident that they will continue that way. So now I'm kind of in a transition so that I can begin helping people, and I get to see a lot of faces that are frowny,
Mm-hmm.
and so I keep things when I'm meeting people kind of light, and so that I can just touch that frown a little bit. And I feel a lady complimented me the other day that I have a beautiful smile and that it's sincere. And another fella said to me that how I express myself to people, they feel invited.
Mm.
And that's very pleasing and happy.
Yeah. When you encounter them, they feel invited.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say more about that?
Okay. Along with my practice, of faith practice and study, is being a human being, and the only way I know how to do it is to keep myself in balance and caring. And I don't have money to fulfill a duty, but I do have time to give opportunities to other people, and so to invite them into, because the invitation has to work both ways though, so that I'm not intruding. So to do that, I give them something light or obscure to speak about, so I distract them just a little enough to open a door for conversation. And
Tom, when did this? I'm thinking as we're making this tape, the people who are watching this don't have the benefit of the 3.5 years of our getting to know each other.
right.
How did you? When this self that you describe, being open to others, maybe saying something that may be something obscure because it kind of stops them, and maybe they're still for a moment in their confusion, and then they begin to be real. When did you begin finding yourself this way?
I've been I've been doing that almost all my life because I mean, not directed towards opening doors and things like that, but I have 6 sisters and 3 brothers, and I was the oldest, so I got to interact with a lot of personalities from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I was the class clown, or whatever, and I didn't mind that, because that usually left me kind of in the background, because all the heavy hitters and all the jocks and everything were out there being rough and tumble, and I could be in the background. So doing it now is kind of second nature. It's been not just 3.5 years that we've known each other, or through my practice of Buddhism, but it's been through just a lifetime of trying to make someone smile. It started with my brothers and sisters, and
When they were babies when they
Well,
were
yeah, when they
children?
were babies, you hold a baby in your arms, you feel pretty much complete if you're the big brother.
Yeah.
so,
Mhm.
so, and family and mothers and fathers and all those things, that's very important. And um, when you're homeless, you don't have that support system because somehow or whatever way you got there, you are not supported emotionally, and that kind of throws the person of who you are way off, because you're not showing your true self because you're scared to, because someone slapped you down somewhere along the line, and someone hurt you, or maybe you just hurt yourself and you did a silly thing, and now your life is, I didn't grow up to think I'm going to be this. So
In terms of family, the big brother holding the little baby, feeling your own humanity, feeling your own completeness, and then all the way on the other side of the spectrum is this being abandoned. How did that happen with you?
Well, that happened through not just one reason. How it went about was, I had cancer. I had
When was that, Tom?
about 6-7 years ago, and the cancer manifested in this nostril, and then came down about this far. So I was calling myself the snot-nosed kid for a while, but in what it took, I had a MRSA infection at that time, and I could not move my right arm more than 15 degrees because the shoulder had locked up. But that's, so I could not work.
Yes.
And because I had over 384 applications for jobs, 2 interviews, just to tell me that they couldn't use me, and one to tell me that I was overqualified. And so out of that, 380 of them was just wasted paper, apparently. But I got to know how to write my name really good. And what that all kind of culminated in was a gentleman in Traverse City here allowed me to stay while I was in a house without paying rent for 1 year after my cancer operations. And my shoulder got fixed, and the MRSA infection was taken care of. And then I had to go to physical therapy to relearn how to use my arm.
Who was this man that allowed you to do that? Why did he allow you to do that?
Well, he allowed me to do that because I used to work for him, and this man was Paul Daring, Sr. And he's a very nice man to know, although he can't play golf.
Why can't he play golf?
Well, the way he expresses it is, what he and golf are 2 different things. So he can't do it. He's kind of a but
So you worked at Deering's, I think.
I did.
Yes. And so, wow, this is a wow for me, because the idea of somebody with a disfiguring disease, a scary one like cancer, MRSA, scary thing, disability. Why do you suppose he did this, Tom?
Because he knew me as a human being when I worked for him, because he knew that he could count on me because I closed the shop up at night, and it was up to me to lock the door. He allowed me was paying rent to him
Mm-hmm.
and I lived in the store basically,
Mm-hmm.
and I took care of his dog,
Mm-hmm.
and anyways, I was a reliable human being
Mm-hmm.
when I was working. When I couldn't, and I told him, you know, I said, I don't really think you should be doing this, and he goes, you can't tell me what to do. so I reluctantly accepted the bounty,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and that happens to me a lot. You know, because it I'm getting off the subject of how
No.
I got to homelessness,
Yeah.
but I think it's my personality or whatever, or my outlook. I had cataracts, and I was homeless, and I was staying at Safe Harbor, and they had a book clubs. Well, I used to love. I still love to read, and so I joined the book club, but I couldn't read, and I had to hold the book all
Mm-hmm.
kitty askew,
Mm-hmm.
and the lady who was holding the book club
Mm-hmm.
deal said, you know, Tom, that's not right. What's wrong with your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her, and she goes, oh, well, we're gonna do something about that, she says. And her name was Margaret Kelly, and she was like a manager at the Traverse City Public Library.
Yeah.
And she talked to different people and set up an appointment for me at Cedar Run Eye Center to have my cataract removed, or at least diagnosed to tell me what I needed. And then I contacted like the Lions Club and things like that to see if I could get the finances towards
So you
it.
initiated that. You found out how much it cost, and then you set out to see if you could get some support.
Right. And they would support it, but I would have to wait a year. Well, that was apparently too short or too long for Margaret Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
and she paid for it $3,200 to have this eye laser
Mm-hmm.
surgery to get rid of the cataract,
Mm-hmm.
all by herself out of her own pocket. So I was, and then what happened with her was she got let go from the library, a position she had held for 13 years. And I happened to be there that day at the library, and we cried with each other for a while, and then she went away, and we've been friends ever since, and she's taken the library to court and won.
So with Mr. Deering
Mm-hmm.
and with Margaret Kelly, you realize that there's something about you that makes these things possible.
Yes, it is. It's why it's possible, I think, is because I do care, and I don't have anything else to give other than a smile and an opportunity to maybe talk to you, or to let you express yourself, because part of what I do mostly is listen to other people, so this is really obscure for me to be talking.
We started talking about the closeness, this intimacy with family,
Mm-hmm.
and your I think your very effective, your very poignant description of how common it is for homeless people to have been abandoned by their families.
Mm-hmm.
You've already said that you had this closeness. Are you separate from your family now?
Oh, my family lives within 5 miles of me right now, and I call my mother. usually get to visit with my brothers and sisters at least once a year, and because they're all have separate lives. But as far as them making a point to come visit me, it's no, because I haven't. For a while, I didn't have a telephone, so families get separated because communication is lost. But I'm sure that happens to a lot of normal homeless people, and that's it's. I was separated also because I got to go to Vietnam for a while, and well, my brothers and sisters welcomed me back. My father did not. We didn't win, so the other tradition of that got, because we weren't winners in Vietnam. And then I was doing my own thing, but...
Now, so when you came back, can you say, this is something that our, 40 years later, our country, the people in our society seem to be more aware of how bad it was for... Can you...
Yes, and it's helping the new generation of people who get to go to war.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. I mean... Part of my being happy is eventually, so that when the United States flag stays up, doesn't come down halfway because we lost another citizen, because we lost another happy human being, because I'm not too happy about wars, and I'm enjoying a peace. And I think everybody should get to. And go ahead, John.
When you came back from Vietnam, at first you said you got to go to Vietnam. Can you say something about that? I sense your irony in saying you got to go.
I did get to go. For Tom to get into the service, it took me almost 8 months, right? Because they were grabbing everybody, but for some reason there was always a little hitch for me. So it took me a while to get into the service. And then once I was in, I was wondering why I did that. but I knew they have this form you can fill out where you can say where you want to go, but at that time that was a wish list that usually, even if you didn't put it down, Vietnam was number one. So I got to go, even though my worldwide choice was somewhere in Europe. But but you know, as a soldier, as a warrior, the United States will train you to take care of yourself, and you earn a camaraderie with the people that you are with, and that's also how I got to survive being homeless too. I think was because I didn't come off all rough and bluff, and I got this point to make. I came off with let's talk about it. And at the time I was in Vietnam, there were things happening in the United States, like race riots and things like that, because I still remember one time driving with my grandmother, and she turned around because we were headed to Detroit, and she she was thinking of my safety, I'm sure, but you know, in the service, I got to be related to black people. I got to, because that fella might be able to save my life, or that gal, or whatever, you know. So I never really felt a racial prejudice or a sexual prejudice towards guys or women of any color, and I think that's helped me to be happy because I just take it as as it is, you know. Because people wanna express the flavor of the life they knew, the flavor that says I'm Latino or I'm Mexican or
Yes.
you know, it's that what built the little stones and pebbles that are the roadmap of America. So it's just wonderful the way democracy is supposed to work, but sometimes in place it things get in the way and feelings get in the way, or they said, she said, you know, kind of a deal. And
Sure.
you know, and they forget that that we're human beings, that we're people who have a right here in America to be happy.
You have had the experience of Vietnam, and you share that there are some things that taught you that it almost seems ironic to me that it came in handy in your homelessness. You also have met and are certainly aware of other Vietnam era veterans
Right.
who are homeless.
They are homeless, but that's changing, I think, because at least here in Michigan, that is changing because of an awareness that people are feeling other than in their pocketbook, because coming back from any war is just hard, because you know everything about you has changed and everything in your family is not the same.
Tell more about the experience of your coming home. You're coming home. What's happening?
Okay, I walk in the door of our house, of the house I grew up in, and there are like little paper things on the there's the family living room is kind of encased in so that it leads into the kitchen also. So on the corners of that, and it's about 20 feet across, are shreds of paper. So I asked my sister, what's there? And my sister says, Dad made us take down the welcome home. So, and so it was apparently violent. And he used to do things like, I was watching a TV show, and he crept up behind me and slapped his hands. Well, what happened with me was my heart started racing. I just stood up and laid on the floor, and he's back there laughing at me. So that did not go over too well, and I wanted to hit him. My hand turned into a fist, but I did not, because he was my father. So that kind of told me right there, there's no coming home per se, but there is a way around it, because I still have respect and for that man, and I still care for my mother and my brothers and my sisters. So,
was this your relationship with your dad? What was it like before that?
Well, it was. I am not my father's son. He married my mother, and I was already born.
Thank you.
And so I guess maybe I was a reminder of some other time.
Okay.
And to me, that was not love. So anything that went wrong, and being the oldest now, I had to adapt to it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, some things stick in your mind. Like, the first 2 weeks I was in Vietnam, one of my jobs was a special purpose mechanic, which meant I worked on anything from runway sweepers to forklifts. Well, a forklift had broke down on the runway, on the tarmac, in really superheated day of Vietnam, and they said, "Tom, go out and fix that." And I had just been issued my brand new toolbox, so of course I rushed right out there. And when I got there, what had happened was the forklift had popped a check valve as it was making its lift. Well, when that happens, the entire forklift just stops, and it's a jarring stop because everything shuts down. Well, the cargo got displaced, and what the cargo was body bags with bodies. So there was no operator around. There was no one on the airplane, and my job was to fix it. So I'm fixing that forklift, and there are open contents of the bags all the way around me. And how I managed to get through it was just do my job. And later things kind of caught up with me, and I had to go for counseling and things like that. But you know, what was really eating at me was these were all Americans. These were guys who got hurt, and they were just tossed about like so many raisins on the ground. So it stung. But if I was just doing my job, I could get out of that. Of course, when I finished that job, what do I do? so that's when I started drinking a little bit more, I guess, and because for a while I was an alcoholic also. And
before that?
No, after that mostly.
Sure.
And so, I got myself out of that too.
But so this experience with the forklift and the body bags, that was, it took a lot. It hurt.
Oh yeah, I noticed it right away. I mean, I couldn't eat Raisin Bran for years. honest to gosh. I mean, because they would sit in my little bowl with the white milk, and then the raisins sitting there.
You said so, like they were scattered on the ground like so many raisins. Wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was an opportunity that changed me a little bit as a human being, and so that's part of the reason that I have got to maintain a sense of happiness and a sense of joy in my life, because those guys didn't get to, and they were comrades, or I didn't even have to know them, but they were people who were before me, and I just didn't see the respect my government was showing them at that time, and so I'll stick up for, even as a Buddhist, I will stick up for anybody who's in the service, and because that's part of being non-judgmental, because people do what they got to do, and they care for what they do.
As you did. You did what?
Yeah, but I had to separate myself from that somewhat. I had to be above it, because after that, and I told my sergeant what the experience was, he kind of agreed with me, but he couldn't really. So what he did was he put me into a special purpose Red Horse squadron, which sent me around, and I'd either be tearing bases down or building them up.
Okay.
So, and I liked it. I got to see a whole lot of Vietnam that way. And I wasn't really in situations where that first event would ever occur again.
Right.
So again, I was fortunate. And in that, like Margaret Kelly and
Mr. Deering.
Mr.
Yeah.
Deering, and introducing myself to as Still Tom to people. So it's yeah.
When did the Still Tom thing start? Tell us. So
This
tell the story.
okay.
This-
I met John at Goodwill, and as he was serving, and he asked me who I was, and I said Still Tom. But he never really inquired till now about the how that came about. And how it came about was kind of a self-realization that if I can keep calm during any situation, then I myself am protected, more or less. So I kind of always envision it as the rock that water down the river flows along, and even if the water dries up, I'll still be there. So I'm still Tom.
So the still was, I remember the experience where I'm serving dinner and you're coming through, at the end with the other folks that are guests there. And I try to remember names, but not perfectly. And so I saw you and I asked you for your name and you said Still Tom. There were three responses that happened in me. First was I felt bad because when you said I'm still Tom, it's like I was Tom last week, but you forgot, but I'm still Tom. So there was the constancy of who you are. There was a fault in me for not remembering, and I felt really bad about it because I feel good when somebody remembers who I am, and I want to be able to share that too. But then, like a flower opening up, the stillness. And so that's something that I've always treasured. That stillness in you, that constancy in you, that permanency in you, that rock that's still going to be there when the water dries up. You came back from Vietnam. You experienced this tremendous insensitivity and dehumanization by your father. How did you survive? What happened next after you came home?
Well, when I came home, I had been stationed in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at Sandia, which is a special research base in the Manzano Mountains. And I came home because my grandmother had died. And then while I was here, I learned that Michigan was offering like $600 for returning Vietnam vets. So I stuck around Traverse City for 2 weeks, not specifically at my parents' place, because after the going home, I didn't want to go home. So anyways, I hung around Traverse, and then I went back to Albuquerque so that I could finish my job, which I was selling shoes at Kistler Hollister, and wasn't that thrilling, and moved back to Michigan, and that's what I did. I had money I had saved from being in the service, and I had money that the state of Michigan had given me, and then I found a job here before I left at the Firestone station, which is now not there.
Yeah, they just took it down. Yeah.
And then I came back, and Traverse City is my hometown to begin with, and so I've been here ever since. It's still town. So
Let's take a break. This is really, really good. Thank you.
I hope you can find something.
No, there's plenty more. I just want to give we're just getting to a place where you began to talk about you're coming back here, you're making Traverse City your home. You get jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you pick it
Okay,
up
and
there?
okay, I as I had stated earlier, I started a position at Firestone, which no longer exists,
Mm-hmm.
and
What kind of education did you have then, Tom?
I before I went into service, I had like maybe a half a year of college,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I got back, I went swiftly back to college
Mm-hmm.
and got about another year and a half. I was married at the time, and then my wife had a cerebral hemorrhage,
Mm-hmm.
and which she became a hemiplegic, and
And
that was
explain what that is. You shared that with me.
Okay, this arm, by the time I was able to get and afford help, this
Mhm.
arm had atrophied, and this leg she couldn't use.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was working, but I didn't have insurance for that.
Mm.
And her father helped as best he could also, but I mean, physical therapy costs.
Mm.
So what I did was the first thing I ever did for her, because she only had this hand to work with,
Yeah.
was teach her how to. I had to teach myself how to tie my shoe one-handed, because they didn't have Velcro back then.
Yeah.
And so I taught myself that, and then I showed it to her.
How old were you then, Tom?
I was about 25.
And how did you come to get married? How did you meet her, and how old were you then? How does this fit in with Vietnam and coming back? And...
Okay. I had been previously married
Yes.
while I was in Vietnam, and that kind of separated because I wasn't home.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I came back and I met this lady through kind of my sister, and then we kind of sparked and became an item, and then
Yes.
became married.
Sure.
And then she had this thing where she really had to be thin. So at that time, she was taking, and I didn't know it, but she was taking speed to stay thin, and drinking, and they collided.
Yeah.
At any rate, what she ended up with was 3 brain operations, and becoming a hemiplegic, and she fights on today.
Ah.
But personally,
Yes.
why we separated was I kind of overcompensated for everything she did, and she is an individual, and I forgot that part, and so like what set it off was we went to a social occasion to the neighbor's place, and they asked if we would like to play ping pong. So my wife and I played on the same team, and I was overcompensating. Like I'd hit it just right, or whatever. I'd make saves on her side of the table. It was terrible, and so she chastised me strongly. And that led to my thinking that, you know, I'm not doing something right. So she's not happy, I'm not happy. But this was way before I began my self-realization that it's okay to be a human being.
Yeah.
So we ended up divorced because I didn't want to do anything worse to her.
Mm.
And she felt much better about, I mean, we're friends now, but she felt much better about her being a human being and taking her suffering her way.
Yes.
And
It sounds like you learned a lot from that.
oh yeah, it's a life event.
Yeah.
But and she, see, I had gotten a house. I was paying for a house. I had 2 trucks and a car, and the house, and I was making all these wonderful payments and insurances and taking care of her.
Sure.
And it wasn't that I had a super job. It's just that I know how to lie to myself.
Say more about that. What do you mean?
But, well, you know, you want to keep up with the Joneses, and I had the yard, and I planted trees, and I loved to mow my lawn, and take care of my basement, and do guy stuff, and, but that's...
How was that lying to yourself?
It's because I couldn't afford all that stuff. I could not, on the income I did, I didn't have a lot of loans out or anything, but I was not making a whole bunch of money, and everything I went towards food or insurance or gas,
Sure.
and maintaining the vehicles and like that, you know. So becoming homeless was, I didn't have all that. It was very free in that sense, but you know, that was my attitude. That's one single guy who went through other experiences to arrive to a point where his core values are, if I'm not happy, I can't make the world around me happy. And so I just brought if I was feeling depressed, I would bring myself out of that. I mean, there are a lot of people, I met a lot of homeless people who had master's degrees, something I'll probably never get, but and they had great super jobs, and they were, you know, peeing themselves and talking nonsense and not utilizing what they earned. And I thought, man, I don't know if I would like to earn now, but because it apparently they had a harder problem dealing with losing the stuff they had than I did.
Yes.
Because maybe it wasn't so much, but it was my everything.
Sure.
And so that just taught me that my core has to be very solid and very firm and very still, because I don't want to rely on outside influences to change the moment for now, because that doesn't work. That doesn't take care of me in the long run. In the long run is I wanted to get back some semblance of having a place. And
so you had the, you know, 2 trucks and a car and the lawn to mow and stuff like that. You went through the divorce. What happened then? How did it all start breaking down?
We were drinking,
Yes.
her and I.
Yeah.
And she only had the one hand, but she made excellent use of it. We were driving. I had just purchased a used vehicle. It was a beautiful little red burgundy Buick Special, and she grabbed the steering wheel as we're going around a corner, and there's a tree right there. She grabbed the steering wheel and turned me into a tree, and there went my car. And she was unhurt because I was stepping on the brake while all this was going on, but my car was around the tree. So and she's drunk. So she was very loose with her tongues, and the neighbors are coming out going, "Oh, you are you okay? And she's going, curse, swear, dirty word, Tom. How dare you?
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a situation, and I was not in total
Yes.
of my mind
Yeah.
because I was drunk and concerned for her that she was safe, and she was just perfectly fine except for being drunk.
Yeah.
and so we walked home
Yes.
from that, which was about another 2 minutes, and I would have been home. And that wouldn't have happened. So anyways, the next day we had a long, drawn-out, sober discussion and decided to go our separate ways, rejoicing.
Yeah.
And
Rejoicing.
But my first divorce, though, in that one, we counted pencils. I've never been. I mean, she wanted. I said, take all the damn pencils.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
And that was because I couldn't be home and
Sure.
and things like that. And
So this one was an amicable parting.
mm-hmm.
And how old were you then, roughly?
35.
Okay. And where did your life go from there?
Well, basically, I was homeless. I went. At that time, I was into doing photography, and I had a commission. It was a part-time job. I had a commission with a very good friend who was getting married, and would I take his wedding photos? And I said, sure. I said, but I got this problem first. And he said, oh, that's no problem. He had just himself bought a house in Lake Ann, and he said I could have this section of the house. And so I did, and I said, yeah, but you got a lady who's new to being your wife.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want to. So I moved into, he had built the place himself, kind of, and he had built a kind of a separate shack that had like basic kitchen stuff and bathroom and a bed, and that was it. And so they stayed in there, and I got that little place. And I could use their showers if I needed to.
Yeah.
But basically, I was homeless, and I took very good wedding photos.
Yes.
And then I sought another job, and at that time in Traverse City, Morgan McCool's was still kind of around, and so I got a job there, and that lasted.
What was that? What was Morgan McCool's?
It's now called the Open Space Project, and it was a processing plant for apples and things like that to make cider or cherries and whatever else in the region. And they processed it and sold it, and there were train tracks that went by.
Those of us who live more comfortable lives would call it living hand to mouth, basically, making enough money so that you could survive.
Right. And gosh, yeah, I survived. I hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck, and went around many places in Traverse City that no longer exists for the most part, and found jobs and did things and helped people and for money and made a kind of a half-life for myself.
Half-life. Say more about that.
Well, you know what? When you're pre-homeless.
What does that mean, pre-homeless?
Okay,
So we've got a half a life and
I can
pre-homeless.
reflect on it now.
Yes,
I can look back and upgrade
the stage
words.
was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I was in a transient stage where I didn't seem to care that much about myself, and I didn't have anyone to care about. But I still needed to do things so that I could do other things that weren't very good for me, like I was still drinking at that point in my life. And and that was the way I was brought up too, is a fellow works. I mean, you just go out and you find a job and you work.
Yeah.
And I could do that when I was younger. When I started, at 55, when I had the cancer and the MRSA, and that's when my father died, and all kinds of tragic events were happening at 55, and I'm glad they're gone. Because I am doing so much way better than that. But
this pre-homeless half a life.
Yeah, the half-life is you know, we lived in a nuclear age, and so that kind of was the term, to scare or to explain. Yeah. And I was living a half-life in that I was around, but I didn't delve into any other person's life. I mean, they weren't friends. I did not have friends. I had acquaintances. And part of that also was Vietnam, because I could not trust anyone. I felt I couldn't trust my government. I couldn't trust my friends. I knew for a while there I couldn't trust my family. So, so you know, your world, my world, closed in till there was just me. So I got to do some self-realization, some self-discovery, and some ridding of the bad things that were part of my life, because they weren't necessary and they were destructive. And you know, I was still a worthwhile human being, but I was only doing half my potential. I was only doing half the effort, because I didn't really care. And I didn't see any reason to care, because it didn't seem like there was someone out there going to touch me, going to shake my hand, going to pat me on the back and say, you're worthwhile. So what I had to do was tell myself that. And I was right.
How did you go about telling yourself that?
Well, I picked something, just one thing, like meeting a new person, or going and learning one thing that day. And
how much of a struggle was that, to do that one thing? What was that like?
Well, I had to get over feeling silly. I had to get over feeling you're just doing this because. All this other junk that society kind of infringes itself on how you're supposed to look and how you're supposed to be judged. And so I had to eliminate all that stuff, because it was truly important. I began to realize that I was important, and none of this outside stuff was going to change until I changed. And it did, and I am changed.
When did you begin to see that? What's the story of the change? When did you begin to see it start? Other than the good stories that you've told us.
How did I? Well, I love coffee, and there was a little restaurant that had just opened, and it was called Hoops here in Traverse. It's now the gun-toting place, or the bootleggers.
Okay.
Anyways, and I went inside, and it was all bright and wood paneling, and it said Hoops. And there was a young lady in there who was serving, and she was kind of cute, so I kind of flirted. And she started telling me about this Buddhist stuff. And we got to talking, and 20 years later, she finally delivered that coffee to me. Because she never did put anything in the cup she had that day. But
Because conversation started in the coffee.
Yep, and then I met her friends, and then the practice kind of started because I was still reluctant. It was in a different language, and I didn't know what the heck they were saying. But I got out of myself. I got out of that guy I was trying to build, but had flaws all over the place. It was like I was all taped up. You know, so they accepted me with those flaws, and they took off pieces of the tape and revealed that it really wasn't that bad. And
to you, they revealed to you, to yourself.
So I became friendlier and more open, and I was still reluctant. I was still, standoffish, and I still got to take care of Tom, kind of a deal. But they showed me that through taking care of myself, I can start to take care of others. So that became a part of Still Tom's. So now if I kind of picture it in my mind. It is like the wind comes along and pushes some dust on me, and then I can blow it back off onto you.
Okay.
So it's it's a joy to me when I can utilize all the experiences, I guess, to empathize with another human being, to show them and guide them without really saying, do this, and do this, because each individual is different. Each individual has a passion about something in their lives that's messing them up or making them go on. And all you got to do, basically, is just give them the opportunity to speak, to give them the opportunity to solve it themselves, because people know how to fix stuff. It's just that they just need the guidance to get there. And that's part of what I learned about Tom, is I can do that. And there was a song I learned it was on a TV show, a kids show, black and white, that I forget the name of the song, but it was, I can't play the violin, I can't play the drums, but I can lead the band. So
now, so you had this experience with the Buddhist community that helped you give up this enclosure that you'd put around yourself, go beyond the isolation. But then the cancer came along and the MRSA came along. Mr. Deering gave you a place to stay after the cancer. And what happened after that? After you left his place?
After I left there, I couch surfed for a while. I didn't have a lot of stuff. Anything I had that I couldn't carry with me seemed useless, so I got rid of things. And I either stored them if I found them, like books and things like that. I really appreciate, and so I stored them I asked permission and could store them at my mother's. And other things became important, like warm clothing and clean underwear. Things like that.
Why did they become important?
Because I didn't have money to wash my clothes very often. So it became an ordeal to me to change my underwear or change my socks or whatever, because I didn't know when I was going to be able to wash it.
Because you were staying with different friends and you couldn't just make yourself at home.
Right. because yeah, it's not your place, and they're doing you a favor, and you know it, because and that's a stress on the other person. That's a, it's stressful enough being homeless, but if you have to rely on someone else's good grace, that you have to be on top of your game 400%, because yeah, you have to be courteous. And it's not that being courteous is something strange to me, but it's even more of an awareness gathering ideal. And that itself was another learning process, and slowly and I figured out eventually, after if you knock your head against the wall and then you stop, it's better. So I broke down and went to Goodwill and said, this is my situation. And they showed me the process of what I had to do, and I got my checks, and I went through their process, in process, and things like that. But I was still under that someone else's roof.
Yes.
And these people, the staff people, were enclosed in glass. So, so you couldn't hear their conversations in whatever, unless they accidentally left the mic on. And you didn't have any real personal interaction. You were separated, viewed but separated, and that just that just did not seem very human to what they said was goodwill. That did not say, you're a human being, I appreciate you, and we can help you do this by teaching you this. Because, well, they presented you with things to be learned. It had to be this way, no other way, and you can't interact with that learning process. You can't say why. It's all cut and dry. We're going to get you out of here in 90 days. You'll be happy, healthy, and wise. And
so you're conforming. You're not learning. You're just
following
the rules. Doing what you are told.
I would like to say military, but I had a lot more freedom in the military. That was a learning process. And then after my 90 days was up, I was homeless again, and so I went to a place called Safe Harbor.
I'd like to take you back to the end, partially out of the fact that that's where I knew you, and that's where I met you and came to know you. How did you? Your spirit was apparent to me. How did you get through that experience?
They eventually learned to put up with me because I really wasn't that bad. I didn't drink and I didn't do drugs.
Yeah.
And I never cursed them.
You say put up with you. What is it about you that they had to struggle with?
They had to struggle because I am quick of mind, and sometimes the mind doesn't know how to shut it off at my tongue. So I would say something flippant, meaning nothing.
Yes.
And they, because they are behind the glass, can look at it and discuss it and say that I'm doing a bad thing.
Yes.
So, or being disrespectful.
Yes.
And, so your individuality is lost because you got to be part of the parcel, or you're not going to get the bennies, like feed or bed. And the heck with being a human being. So, and I was poor. I had no income. I barely had food stamps. but I did not conform to that in any way. I mean, I felt like Cool Hand Luke.
You felt like
Cool Hand Luke, you know.
Okay.
So I was, I was the guy who was doing the strange things, not bad things, but just keeping interest.
Yeah.
So when, before I knew you, I had to look at you as a staff,
Yes.
not a human being.
Yes.
So that's, and part of that was a learning process in how to, everybody is not the same.
Yeah.
Even that staff back there had their quirks, and some of them were pretty extreme, but that brought back that it's me that had to change. I could still be me and still be the smart mouth class clown, but
Yes.
I had to tone it down just a notch and become still.
You had the ability to determine yourself amid all these other things that were frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because homelessness is looked at as just a bunch of bums who really don't want to do anything. Homelessness is lazy people on the beach if they're in Florida or whatever. But it's stressful, and that's why it's exhausting to when 24 hours in a day are not enough to maybe find food, to find shelter, and then you got to start again tomorrow, because it's not an easy life, and people get sunburned and careworn, and their faces are cracked and with that time.
Careworn. That's a powerful pair of words. So after you left the inn, Safe Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
That's
another beauty spot in America.
Another whole set of experiences.
Yes, I met some glorious people, and I felt.
Describe it to the person. So when you talk about Goodwill Inn, people can understand this is a shelter. It's an emergency shelter. Safe Harbor.
Safe Harbor does not have any of the conveniences like a bed, a real bed, or a place to store your stuff. That is, Safe Harbor has you have a blue mat that you find in jails maybe. You have a blanket, no pillow.
And this is a rotating shelter. It's something that various churches take up.
You're there.
How does it work? How does it work logistically and all that stuff?
You stay for a week. You can at most of the churches you can stay for a week, and then you move on to the next little spot. But some allow you to stay there 2 weeks, depending on their basketball schedule or something that you're going to be sleeping in a gym.
Right.
So because they still have their stuff to do. But Safe Harbor is, at that time, it's changed since a little bit, I think. But they had their rules too, and there I met some really hands-on people. Hands-on, and they'd shake your hand. They point to you and say, "Hello, Tom." And if there was something that they could help you with, they would help you, and if they couldn't, they'd direct you to someone who maybe could.
Are these people who are members of those parishes, or are they?
It seems they're all from various parishes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the people who were kind, who were touching, were they the people that would be in that particular place where you went there for a week, or were they?
The ones I'm speaking of were like the semi-staff people who were the ones.
Okay.
Other, at the various churches, while they were hosting the homeless, people would come in. the parishioners,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
would come in and they'd be. So you'd have to kind of rehearse in your mind the story again and again and again, because they want to. At least I would. They would want to know you,
Yes.
but they didn't want to know you, kind of a deal. So
Say more about that. They want to know you, but they didn't want to know you.
it's like their head high grand poobah priest or whatever,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
would say one Sunday, hey, we're going to be hosting some homeless people, so I want you to come on down, bring some food,
Yeah.
and chat and help them be civilized. So it became,
Help them be civilized.
yeah, because, you know, we're all unwashed. And so, or drunks, and bums. And so these very nice, concerned people would come in and they'd bring their children and they'd share a little bit, and and some of them were very, very sincere. And I don't want to,
Right,
I need
right.
to separate them.
Yeah.
But some of them were, well, we're doing this. And, oh, that's just not right. You mustn't touch there.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal. And, you know, that's fine. But for the homeless person, it's an ordeal, because those people are now going to get names like, oh, don't bother old bitch person.
Yeah,
Can
that's
I-
right. That's, glad to have it. Glad to have the reality. Yeah, yeah.
But,
So you all, I say you all now. You're people who are homeless. It's this rotating shelter that keeps you from being in the snow and sleeping in a snowbank.
But that's just at nighttime.
Yeah.
You're let go at
Right.
7 a.m. in the morning. You
Right.
can boogie on out. And then you're stuck. And there are warming houses.
Yeah.
I guess you could call them like Jubilee House, where you can go in and have a cup of coffee, and they're open, I think, till 1 or 2 o'clock. And so you can watch a little TV and chat with your friends, and they usually have some ramen noodles or somebody brings in some treats, and you can talk about things. And there's usually one of the people from the Safe Harbor usually is in there too, to kind of, if anybody, there are rough homeless people who are kind of crude,
Yeah.
but
So your day when you're using the rotating shelter is
go to the library.
okay.
If
Start
you
me in the morning. So now they've given you a blue mat to sleep on.
in the morning,
When you get up, what happens?
at well, they won't unlock the doors of the establishment usually till 6 a.m.
So you're locked in,
and others are locked out
right?
who didn't make it in at 6:30 or whatever the closing time was. And they usually have like coffee and a small breakfast.
Right.
Then I would always spray my mat down, because I didn't know if I'd get the same mat, so I just knew this one was taken care of.
Yeah,
so I'd clean it and have breakfast, and I could brush my teeth and take a PTA kind of shower, piss, tits, and butt.
Interesting. Yes.
And be on my way.
Yeah.
And you know
So what time is it now? You're leaving. What time is it?
usually you're released. You have to be out by 8 o'clock, because that's when the church staff usually start showing up for work, and they don't want their day messed up. And
Messed up. I like the way.
And
Can you say more about that? They don't want their day messed up.
okay, now they're in their mind, they're going to work.
Yeah.
They're gonna do their job. They're making money. They have a car. They have insurance. They have this. They have debts they're gonna pay. They're going to work. you're there as a homeless person, you got all the time in the world, and they don't want to chat and chit with you.
Yes.
So, and it's not that they're bad people, it's just that their mindset is doing their job and then going home.
Yeah.
Not, it, you know, and a homeless person, sometimes they don't make that transition, but if you're semi-alert like I tried to be, you pay attention. And so anyways, I just got the heck out of there as soon as possible.
Sure.
And
So now it's 8 o'clock.
And so now I have an hour before the library opens, so I go to Horizon Bookstore where they open at 7, and you can go downstairs and sit there for a while. Or if you're into collecting snipes, which are cigarette butts, you go snipe hunting and get your day's supply of butts to smoke. And some people did that early in the morning. Or some people would, because if it was summertime, they would go along the beaches and collect cans and make their daily allotment so I can get beer or whatever.
Right.
So, gleaning. And and so then I would go to the library, and you know your stomach gets kind of growly around noon, and so I'd wander over to Jubilee House and get a little. They'd usually have some kind of a tidbit, or you could boil up some ramen noodles and go on your way, and then back to the library till it was time to be picked up. And then they would give you a dinner, which was usually very good and a lot of carbs, though. It was mostly carbs. It wasn't a health food because you were out there being cold, so carbs were good.
Yeah.
But, and one thing I did notice is, while I was homeless and outside at Safe Harbor, I never got sick. I built up an immunity. When I got inside, I was sneezing sometimes or I caught a cold. But so you are healthy. You are fed healthy food, and I did. And one of the lovely people that I met was a blind lady named Julie who works at Bayview Church, and I think it's Bayview or Baylight. That one where I demonstrated the game.
Right, that's Bayview. Yeah.
And she also helped while I was getting my cataracts done. Because what she did, I was homeless, what she did was got her church to put rent for me for 1 week at a hotel, so that because my eyes were adjusting, I wouldn't be outside and getting
in the weather. Yeah.
So, you know, fortune started happening around me because I was taking care of me finally, and I was not in supreme condition or anything. I didn't have money rolling in. I didn't have a lot of friends, but the ones I met and the ones I made are lifelong friends. Whether they want it or not, I'll stick by it. And you know, it's not easy to build that kind of a relationship if you've never known it, because you're starting from ground zero. You're starting with absolutely nothing other than your sparkling personality, and you've got to use it, maximize it. So I sort of cheated. I bought I didn't buy it because I couldn't buy it, but there was a book at Goodwill on how to give speeches. I read it, and then I started using it. And then I read it again, and I used this part of it. Oh, that works. You know, so one morning I was at Horizon waiting for the 9 o'clock hike to the public library, and Toastmasters was down there. And they were... they had their regular things, and people. The subject that time was what I have in my kitchen drawer. So, then they opened it up to anybody in there. So I said, I'm going to try this because I got that individual thing. I'm just a little smart aleck. And so I went in and I gave a 20-minute talk on what I didn't have and how they should appreciate what they've got and the meaning of anything that they didn't lost. And they said, have you ever given talks before? I said, this is it. So you utilize what you have and maybe give yourself a little study time and a little bit of learning, and you can move. You can go forward. And that's the goal, is to go forward. If you're knocked back, it's a challenge. So you got to learn to move around. And that's part of what I learned from the challenges that I've met and the challenges I've overcome and the ones I've had to go around. But I didn't give up, and I didn't want to see anyone else give up. But somehow in the back of my mind, I knew this person wasn't going to make it because they had totally given up and didn't want any respect for themselves.
How do you handle, how do you deal with, how do you relate to, how do you live with seeing other people not do it, not get past it?
That's the easy part, John. What you got to do basically is if you see someone and they're just not capable because of physical disability or mental disability,
right,
and you just know they're not going to quite make it. All you can do is be a friend. All you can do is give them the opportunity sometimes just to vent, to get rid of all that icky crap that kind of chews your insides out. Because I did it, but I got to do it by Tom. I didn't. I mean, the support is out there if you utilize it. I mean, I made some great friends, and I think they think well of me, and I think very highly of them because they looked at me and said, "There's a human being in there somewhere," and they saw it and they recognized it, and that's hard to see in people who are disguising it through drugs and alcohol or mental retardation or physical disabilities, because they know they're already separated from the rest of the human beings. So they know, and all you can do is just be there for them and be a friend. And that's, they might say, "Hey, I missed you yesterday," and I go, and you got to have an answer for them, a direct, truthful answer, because I'm sorry, I was with so and so, and they can make contact or they can forgive, but that's their contact with you. So if you're not happy with yourself, you shouldn't be around them, because they're going to catch it on. But that's also a bit of trust on your part, so that if you are not happy and you do go around them, that allows them, if they care or if they see it, they can try to cheer you up.
Then it's reciprocal.
Yes,
Not
and
this,
then they are
you.
more participating, so that opens up a new door.
Yeah.
So, but that's, and I hate the word judgment, but that is a judgment thing. You just can't, because you end up boxing yourself.
If there are people that want to go beyond where they are, what do you do? What do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I mean, I am not. What I do is just go to them if I see them and be a friend. I just say, I know of this place. I'm not saying you should go there, because that if you say you should, usually that's what they've heard millions of times.
Yes.
And nobody likes the word should in homelessness.
Right.
So what you suggest, you encourage, you maybe push, and sometimes outright drag
Yes.
people to what's good for them.
To take a step. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they don't know, or have forgotten, or have been knocked down so hard they don't want to try anymore
Mm-hmm.
to do something what's good for them, and they don't realize the full potential that they have, that they can do this stuff, they can do it. They don't need me, they don't need you, they just need themselves, back in themselves.
Yes.
They need that joy.
Yeah.
And I appreciated you and all the other people who have helped me.
Mm-hmm.
It was me who had to keep pushing that button on me to move forward.
There's something that comes to mind when you share the ping pong game. That we take on a certain role that really is dehumanizing to the person we're caring about.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I appreciated very much in you. I felt like I was coming there playing with one-handed people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the kind of thing that people in that room needed.
Mm-hmm.
You had an unusually adept way of bringing it to my attention. You were very, very, very good at that, and I'm grateful for that. You've taken us through, thank you, a lot of your life. We haven't talked about the game. I think I want to pause here, and then let's talk about the game.
Okay.
Okay? Thanks.
Sounds good.
This wonderful sketch of your life now lets me ask you about the game.
Okay.
The experience of designing the game that you worked with, of coming in and working with Home Sweet Homelessness, and where you might like to go in the future with it too, and I won't hold you to any of that part.
Oh, good.
So so I was blessed to meet you at the inn at a time when, and coming to know you and know your capacity, when I saw you, Tom, when I observed you before I even got to know you, I thought either that guy was a Jesuit or he studied philosophy, but there's something, I saw something in you that made me say, this guy's got a mind that, and a connection with people with this mind. So my vibes were there very much. I'm grateful for that. And when I saw you in class, this was a class that at that time we were calling Goals Group. Mm-hmm. They gave no suggestion. What do you mean? What are the learning objectives? So it didn't allow me to be linear toward their goal because they didn't have one. Mm-hmm. And so I went, okay, if you juggle, then you juggle, Mm-hmm. And so I started doing my stuff with the group, and my stuff was really very much what lifts you up, what makes you want to try something, what are the things you need to do in order to try, what are the tools you want now that you're up. And I thought I would have to, I'll say it, dumb down what I had, because shoot, I was working with college students. Mm-hmm. And now I'm in a homeless shelter. Mm-hmm. And thank God and people like you, I began to see how stupid that was, and that I would think that I would fall prey to those things that you so eloquently describe as the way society looks at people who are experiencing homelessness. Mm-hmm. And I also, so I would get to the end of the class and I'd say, you guys were really good. but I was haunted by a student that I had on my staff who was also very good. And at the end of every day, Dave would leave and I'd say, Dave, good day today. And one day he looked at me with a very pointed look and he said, don't do that. I said, what? He said, no matter what I do, at the end of the day you say, Dave, good day today. If there's something good I did, I want you to tell me what it was. I go, whew. So praise for the sake of praise was not sufficient for me, and I wasn't honoring you and the others in that room by doing it. Mm-hmm. So I went home that day saying, okay, I've got to give them something tough that I won't need to tell them was good because they'll see it. And that's when I proposed that I challenge you to design a simulator, a board game that would simulate homelessness for those of us, like myself, who you've described the church people. You know, the great majority of them who come in and kind of look down, you know, and they want to care for you. But there is this barrier of judgment, mm-hmm. Plastic charity, mm-hmm. dutiful charity, mm-hmm. that doesn't really have a relationship with the person. So I need you to design a game so that when people like me play it, and I think I may have said to you, I want them to have a holy shit experience. Holy shit, I never thought of that. And that was it. And I turned you guys loose, and it just took off. And so that's the beginning of what now is Home Sweet Homelessness, the game that will open your eyes, as we call it. What was your experience of that group that you were with, and designing that first game?
Okay. Well, let me go back just before you.
Yeah.
There was a lady there who was no longer there, who mm-hmm. had Goals Group.
Yes.
And she made, in my Goals Group, me the CEO of the group. So I appointed a president, a vice president, a secretary, and the workers. And we did stuff. We went out and collected rocks, is what I could think of.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And so I was the CEO of the Rock Center. And so, anyways, when you came in with your proposal, I was already a CEO.
Little did I know. Oh.
So, but what happened is some of the people who knew me from the previous Goals Group wanted to be in my group because I not only taught, but I entertained.
Yes.
So on a level that wasn't, I'm better than this and I don't have to be here, but I am. But I'm here with you, and we're going to survive, and this is how we're going to do it, kind of.
Yeah.
So we broke up. There was that first meeting you were describing. There were 16 people, and then we broke up into with leaders from two different groups of 8, and we went about our tasks. Someone had suggested the Monopoly, so that was immediately out of my head. I didn't want to do that.
Yes.
I wanted to use ideas from it, but I didn't want to do that. So we were sitting around eating a pizza, and Jet's Pizza had delivered us extra pizza or something for the dinner thing. And so I got the cardboard from that and that little thing that stops the box from closing in. That's in the center. And I created my board well after everything was going. That was the first one. Then I went back the next day and got a clean board, and restarted everything. And then I used coloring.
Yeah.
And then I got the people together and say, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And that was difficult because at the end, at that time, The idea was in the morning you do your chores, or if you have chores, and then you move along. You're supposed to be out looking for work,
Yes.
or you're supposed to be studying, or if you're going to school, you're supposed to be going to school. So finding the people to make this, your suggestion, into a reality was very difficult. So I had to be active out and going around to all these different individuals who were pursuing whatever it is they had to pursue to maintain their life at Goodwill.
Yes.
And still find time to talk to that dumb Tom about that project
Yes.
that the goals instructor
Yeah.
was going to promote.
Right.
So anyways, we went, I went and did that, and I did a lot of it myself, and then I discussed them, and sometimes to some people I just actually told them, this is what we're going to do, and this is your part. But that was good too, because they wanted to be told, because it's so much easier when they're told. And that makes me a little sad, but that's the way it is, and that's the way you have to work.
Say more about that. That's a real struggle. You struggled even saying it. What's that about?
Oh, well, you know, now this, go back to prohibition and pasteurization. That's, and you know, and I'm not promoting alcoholism, but what I'm saying is prohibition, for one thing, was solely American. Pasteurization created grape juice. No more wines were used for medicines. And it's maybe only fitting that slowly, ever so slowly, since World War II and other events, that America has kind of dumbed down its citizens. We've lost the middle class. We've lost, basically, because, yeah, I mean, $100,000, you were rich when I was growing up. And now it's middle class just about, or upper middle class.
Yeah.
So, we've lost people. And gosh, they're homeless now. Or gosh, they've given up. And they've decided to be dumb, that there's nothing else for them to go any further. There's no hope left. And you know, Goodwill is supposed to promote hope, at least, that you can move forward. And it's not just the technical, logical numbers, that it's people who are going to make it work, and it's people who are made up of America. And so, you know, I sometimes get the feeling when I have to tell someone what to do, that I'm a slave master, like the people I really don't like.
Yes.
So and it makes me feel sad that this is my America. And so I struggle with that still, and I'm trying to change that, and I will eventually, but maybe not this generation. Anyways, but you know, it's the game.
Yeah.
The game, part of that came into my realization as I was drawing the lines, which my game I made circular, of course, because it was on a pizza board. Then I had it in slices, and then I separated the slices by introducing different colors. And the person would start in the center and work their way out of homelessness. So in other words, you were homeless. This is what provides you a way out. The other team, you were so-so, and you could either go homeless or not homeless. And they had tragic events. My events were not that tragic, but they were tragic to the individual should they not meet that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because they were not getting out of
Right,
that section of the
right,
pie.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you know, and I worked it out, and I play tested it, and I worked with dice, and
Yeah.
and I made all my commitments to these people who were helping me but not helping me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but you know, and they gave me talent, and they wanted. Some of them wanted. One guy went out and he went to a computer thing, and he made this
He made
beautiful
the drawing,
graphic.
which I've got, by the way, for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, there were bright stars
Mm-hmm.
in my little darkness.
Yeah.
And you know, that's another thing. Darkness
Mm-hmm.
wasn't darkness first, and it was the light who was the invader.
Ah, interesting. Good one.
But anyways,
Yeah.
um,
How did you feel about the process of developing that game and then inviting people from the community to play it?
that was a challenge. I was supremely confident my game would succeed no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I was supremely confident that I could ask my people who were at the table with us what was our consideration on this.
Yes.
And that's what I did. I could utilize my staff versus their staff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that was my little inner battle. That was my challenge. And so, you know, but the problem with that is I could not allow myself to actually sit down at the game, because that would lose the focus.
Mm.
You know, and you know, there are other considerations that I couldn't address, because if someone was having a problem and I was sitting down, I'd have to get up and I'd still have to walk around. Okay. So it was just easier for me to stand up.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I would, and that way people had accessibility to town.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was very considerate.
Mm-hmm.
And not that it did draw attention to me, because they knew where to direct things, but it was just...
You were able to be considerate of their needs as people who were playing the game.
Yeah, as individuals.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what the game...
Yeah.
At that point in my mind, that's what I wanted it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. I mean, I felt so good when Cecil never made it out of homelessness. He was the only one.
The CEO of Goodwill of Northern Michigan was stuck in the pit of homelessness.
Yeah, but you know, that he wasn't childlike and resentful when he wrote up his report on it, and he was very enormous of heart to
Yes.
promote it
Yes.
and allow it
Yes.
in his organization, and then you know be the point guy for the roast, as it were. But you know, and the other people who played it all had comments. You know, of course I didn't listen to the other team's game, because
The competitive spirit. Yes. So we went through that experience. Then unfortunately, my medical thing pulling me away, the game got lost, and when I came back, restarted. But I restarted with the blessing, with the gift, the grace of knowing from you that they could do something well also. And sure enough, they did in Home Sweet Homelessness, which is the game that group came up with. Is something that I knew that I wanted to ask you to help on when we started rolling it out and playing with people, because of your mastery with that previous game, your adeptness and talent with that previous game. So now we have this game that is trying also to play this same role. What I learned most fundamentally from your games, those two, was that the game itself provided an opportunity for people without homes and people with homes. I'm learning not to use the term homeless. People sitting playing with each other, that the learning occurred in the people with homes because of the relationship they were having with the people without. The game is a catalyst. They might remember nothing of the game, but they'll remember Tom. And that was a huge learning for me. So when we put the game that we now have together, I already knew that the magic of the game was the playing of it together with people with homes and without homes. And that's the way we've approached it. What has your experience of the game, and here I would say maybe your analysis, what do you see as the strengths and the weaknesses of the game as you've seen it?
Well, it's not mine. But, no.
You don't have the same sense of ownership.
No,
and
I don't.
Identity.
I don't, but I do have this. I have a great pride in what I did, in what was a pioneer process.
Yes. Which led to this one being
right. It opened
precursor.
a door, and
Yeah.
that goes back to what I like to do.
Yeah.
So, pushing it forward as a game, to be a game, when I first conceptualized it, did not strike me as a good idea. What I wanted to do, and what this the game titled Home Sweet Homelessness does, is open a path for dialogue. And my game, it was just subject to Tom actually being there, and this game is not. So I greatly appreciate that. And it proves itself in that the people who receive the opportunity to answer a question, that they are participating now. They have to actually answer it truthfully, without knowledge sometimes, without any idea of how to answer. And so the concept that in my game, whereas I had to be there, I had to be the stand-up guy to do the questions, can now go out to other people, and which is really super. But those other people are all homeless people, I should hope, or near homeless people, because I want that glass to be gone. I want humanity to survive, and not just, well, we're helping you because we get to help you. You better appreciate it.
The glass being the separation between the staff and the guests at the end.
Right.
And so the game is something that gets rid of the glass.
When I was at the end, people would rage against the people inside that glass. They would rage, but they couldn't bring themselves to actually rage.
Yes.
But so I thought, that's just not right. And the people inside there may know about it, but they don't have to talk about it. How can I fix that? So that was part of my game. And that was part of why I think the game, as it is now, is so dynamic in that it doesn't have to be me, but it has to represent that homeless person, that person who is out there on streets every damn day, trying to move ahead, but not an alcoholic person or whatever, someone who cares enough about themselves to try to move ahead in whatever way they can. And then they go to different churches and teach different staff members what I wanted to do. So they're doing what I wanted to begin with. So how great is that? So I think the game is wonderful. I think it's playable. I think it's going to serve a purpose. I don't know how long it'll last or if it'll, but I do. And its purpose is served wonderfully. But it can't hide. It can't say, "Oh, I got X amount, but I'm not going to share you with this one because we want to reserve it for these people." Because I will make myself available as a guide anytime to go to a specific event, but I'm not going to waste my time. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but I'm not going to waste my time just on a maybe. But I am going to go talk to individuals, and I am going to change their lives. That's what the game does. That's what the game does. Because even in just this tiny little moment of flash that they might have because they're having problems with this question, their lives are changed. And
whose life?
The staff people, because they weren't. I wanted to rage too at those people behind the glass wall.
Yeah.
Because I overheard one of the high mucky-muck ladies say, "I've never been homeless, but I have a degree in socialism, and I know how to help." And that just enraged my heart. I mean, that just hurt me so bad that they know how to live like I do, and they're telling me and expect me to fall when they can walk home and go to bed.
So they desire to do the good thing, but they're not
participating in the
life. They're not equipped. They don't come into it with the right attitude.
Yeah.
They're not open.
Yeah, that openness is something I had to learn for myself, because that game doesn't work if you're not open and truthful. That game doesn't work if you're reluctant because you might offend someone, or polite, because homeless people can't afford to be polite. They cannot afford to lose one little bit of image of themselves, because once it's gone forever almost. You can't go back to that person you were before you were homeless. You can't go back there. You're changed. You're vitally changed. I mean, your whole outlook, your whole dreams, your everything. You may have dreamed about buying that $100,000 house, and now your dream is to make it to tomorrow. So it's the game needs people like that. As far as bad things about the game, it has to be there. It has a purpose. That's a bad thing because it's needed, and I don't want to see my America in a way that needs help.
You'd like it to be beyond the game, in other words.
Yeah, I'd like it. So maybe I'm pushing a little bit.
Push. No, I appreciate every single thing you've said, Tom.
Because it's my body changes when I'm speaking on that game. My whole thing is just into that focus of providing the information of something I care about and something that is worthwhile and can help lead others who are helping homeless people towards a human, realistic, individual embracing of humanity. It's just, it all works around individual, one-on-one, like you and I are talking now. But the game simulates that because the dialogue is answered by the guide. The dialogue is promoted by the people, the staff members playing, if they are paying attention and not feeling they're doing a duty.
Or the people from the community, the business leaders, the
everyone.
Court staff,
police officers.
Yeah. Who are the people in this? So staff is one of the kinds of people who you think deserve this experience to be able to do what they want to do.
If they want to be
Who are the other?
they got to look at themselves as leaders, and if they want to be an effective leaders, they got to know where who they're leading.
Who are some of the people that you think would be able to do their work better, be better human beings by playing the game?
Police officers,
Mm-hmm.
probation officers, firemen, nuns, good Christians everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
Bankers.
Mm.
Because I'm coming to a process in my life where banking is going to come into play,
Yeah.
and that was on my mind as a potential staff,
Yeah.
because it's difficult as a homeless person because you don't have any income to think about finances. So if I can draw people in who can talk to people about how to save money through the game, that's great. Business leaders, restaurants.
Yeah.
When I was a janitor at a restaurant, they would save me some soup or something.
Yeah.
What I did, and this is the reason I did it, I would have to park my truck behind the restaurant where it was alone in the dark. So what I would do would take the soup they gave me, set it out there, because I knew a homeless person would come along, and I would always set it on my truck, and they would always come along and take it. So I knew my truck was protected. So that's business. Was part of my community relations.
Relationships are good business.
Mm-hmm. So it's a pleasure to do business with someone you like and someone you can reciprocate with, rather than someone you have to be hard-nosed to all the time, because that just grates you, that just wears you down and dehumanizes you because you're trying to punch through.
Yeah.
So business leaders, restaurants, clothing stores,
Libraries, hospitals.
Because those poor hospital people get they are overworked as it is, and then now they have somebody who homeless people sometimes think of doctors as they're supposed to take care of me because they're doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's dehumanizing the doctors. But the doctors do the same thing because they've been dehumanized.
Yes.
So they do what's appropriate and get them out.
Yeah.
So, it's two sides of the same situation. But doctors, any place where a human being can work, any place that a human being can go to, would be a potential for the game, because you never know who's going to help you, especially from being homeless. You never know where that help is going to come from, and you never know who you're going to help with your attitude. So you got to be firm with yourself about what you are going to do with your life. And if you're wishy and washy, you're going to get part of it, but you're not going to be participating in it. You're not participating in your life, and you're surely not participating in someone else's.
That's right. That's a good point. Yeah.
So you're just my whole deal is not just because I'm Buddhist. It's because I've had experiences from childhood through Vietnam, through education, through everything, to bring me to realize that all you got to do is be a human. To be a human being is to open yourself up to another human being, and sometimes that's very difficult to open that heart that's been scarred and careworn and ripped a little bit and is all raggedy, and and you're opening that mess to someone else and say, this is me, take it or leave it, because I'm here to help. But the best way you can do that is to not say you're there to help, is to just be there and open it up, and the other people find their way in. The other people will find their way in, and you'll find your way inside them. And that's what friendship is. That's what building youth, raising youth is. You know, because people care for their kids. If they put the same amount of care into another human being, this would be a super world. You know, I mean, I'm proud to be an American, and I'm proud to be a human being, and the game, I'm, you know, very proud of, because it's kind of my baby. Is just is growed up, but but it's I'm just so happy that it succeeded, and I'm so happy that it pleases other people, and they see value in it, and they see value in themselves participating in it. You know, that's just amazing to me, that your idea, in my aggressive, challenging attitude, and I'm so rough on those folks, is succeeded in making the promise true. Because, you know, you can tell yourself any number of things, and in fact people do, you know, and it's a big mask, but keeping it true is really participating in whatever your goal is, and the game's just one little focus, but whatever your goal is, the sky is the limit. That's the absolute truth. Thank you very much.
This is awesome. Thank you so much.